periodically, again, live using the Oracle Autonomous Database with the embedded Oracle machine learning that comes with that. And they're the same algorithms. It's just that you have a different sort of user interface. And I'll show you how that works. And then we're going to leave all of our predictions of different wines in the database. And then David, who has a thirst for some great wine and has some sort of country opinions, is going to come in and kind of see if he can find a good wine with all the predictions that he wants to drink and perhaps share. So we're going to talk about what is machine learning. We're going to turn it over to David about Application Express and do a demo all through this stuff. So again, here is how to find a best quality wine. And the key point for Oracle, unlike really everyone else that's out there, with Oracle, we've made the decision quite some time ago to make the database much more of a converged functionality database, something that just keeps on growing in capabilities. So with the Oracle database, starting quite some time ago, we've been slowly stem celling powerful state-of-the-art, classical, traditional, and state-of-the-art machine learning algorithms into the kernel of the database. And those are available as SQL functions. They're not PL/SQL packages, they are SQL functions. And when you turn the database into a thinking kind of database or an intelligent database, it just makes things like picking a good bottle of wine so much easier. So there's our obligatory safe harbor statement. And if you want to follow either David and I periodically, every now and then we tweet something, and you can follow us there if you like. So the scenario is we're going to try and find a good bottle of wine. Now it says $20. Every time we went through this thing, we had $20, $30, $40, $100, and it depends on what number. I think we're maybe find that we need to go a little bit higher to get a good, confident, a high probability of getting a good wine. We define a good wine as greater than 90 points on the I think it's the Wine Spectator scale. And we're going to share this very, very simple case. We're going to go through Oracle Machine Learning Notebooks. We're also going to go through the SQL Developer I said, but we're going to skip over the importing the data because it's already happened. We just want to skip that over. There's 1,000 different ways to get in the database, get data into the database. What we're going to do is in both SQL Developer and the notebook, we're going to look at the data. We're going to identify some key attributes. We're going to build some models. We're going to apply the model, and then we're going to leave the results in the database. David's going to take a look at that data using Oracle Application Express. And then at the end, time allowing, we're going to show how you could really build an app out of this using the REST services. So as a high-level overview of Oracle Machine Learning, which is Oracle Machine Learning for SQL, for R. We're coming out with Oracle Machine Learning for Python in the spring. Oracle Machine Learning Notebooks, Oracle Data Miner is the user interface we're going to show, Oracle Machine Learning Microservices, and Oracle Machine Learning for Spark. So we have quite a few, for big data. So we have quite a few different offerings, but our most differentiated, most interesting, I think, functionality are these algorithms that are inside the database. And what's most interesting in my mind is down at the bottom, where you can do a partitioned model. Like I could build a predictive model for wine partitioned by country, partitioned by variety, partitioned by red versus white. I can use unstructured data, which I have another notebook and another Oracle Data Miner workflow that does that using structured data too, like all the comments from the wine reviewers. Like this is a robust wine, it has fruity, it has elements of cinnamon and all that kind of stuff. But we're not going to do that here. We're going to keep it simple. But we do have those to share maybe at a future time. And you can combine geospatial data, maybe the distance from you to the winery, all sorts of different scenarios. But we have a large library of analytical functions, machine learning algorithms, if you will, that are native implementations inside the database. And as I said, you can access these from SQL, from R, from notebooks, and so on. And what we're going to do is stick with the SQL for right now. So as you can see, we've bumped it up to $40 now. So we're going to determine the best wine for under $40. But first, we have to build a model. So we're going to go to begin DBMS data mining create model. And the hope is if you are an Oracle data professional in reading this simple SQL code, you kind of get it. You say, oh, I know what he's doing here. That makes a lot of sense. And it's very attainable. And honestly, my experience has been I find it a lot more natural and intuitive and easier for Oracle data professionals to sort of migrate towards machine learning than it is to go from a data scientist who knows R or Python and perhaps doesn't know anything about the database to go the other direction. So our hope is that in viewing this, you'll say, hey, that makes a certain amount of sense. And once you've built a good model, you can apply it. So it's just a simple apply. You can use from dual, you can do a whole table, whatever you'd want to do, but it is just in database SQL functions. So I'm going to go through PowerPoint for the drag and drop GUI just to show you, kind of have it live here somewhere. I have the drag and drop GUI over here, and there's a workflow. I can add view data, and here's the data, and there's the columns, and there's the SQL. I have another one that is this guy over here where I've done a little bit more. And I'm just going to go back to screenshots here. I just want to kind of show that the software is in fact real. So we're looking at the data here. We have a table. We have a view of that table, and we have price. We have the points that are a numerical value from, I think they go down as low as maybe 75 up to 100 points. And in wine, you want to get a bottle of wine that maybe has 90 points and above if you can. And these descriptions, we're not really going to use that in this particular scenario because this is a lot of unstructured data. We just wanted to keep it simple for this office hours. But there's the workflow that we've created. And in doing so, I kind of drag and drop and set these things up and eventually build a model. And I can view the model. One of the things you want to do when you, not view the model, view the data. When you are a data scientist, you want to you want to define a business problem. We've said we want to get a bottle of wine that has 90 points or above prediction. We don't know. We haven't opened it up and it hasn't been reviewed. So 90 points and above with a high probability for is as inexpensive as possible. Okay, that's what we're looking to do here. So we look at the data now. We say there's a lot of good greater than 90 point wines in the United States. There's some in France. There's even some down in Australia. Imagine that. So there's a bunch of different wines here, and we're going to define our target field. So we're going to take these points that were between like 75 or 81 here up to 100, and we're going to bin those. Greater than 90 points, which is the rarer occurrence, and less than 90 points. So we're going to try and build a predictive model that finds wines that are greater than 90 points. That's as simple as it is for defining the model. Now there's something called an attribute importance that allows you to sift through the data, run an algorithm, something called a minimum description length algorithm in this particular case, but you could use other techniques that we support. And your target field is greater than or less than 90 points, right? And the lo and behold, price is the key variable here. Duh, right? We all knew that. But also province, variety, taster's name, a bunch of other different variables. These are all the different variables that we found to be of interest or influential in predicting a good wine. Using the graphical user interface, we've built a few different wines. We looked at a lift chart and we found that they're all pretty good. We can see decision trees that show us sort of the reasons and the logic and the rationale that gives us a 75% likelihood this is a good bottle of wine, but it occurs less than 1% of the time. So it's a rare bottle. We may not be able to find that in the store, right? And at the end, what we have is a table of predictions with prediction probabilities. So the wine data was in the database. We built a model. We applied the model. We left the predictions, the insights in the database, and we're going to come back around it using Oracle Application Express with David in a minute. But now I'm going to switch over and show you how you do that using the autonomous database. So I'm going to switch over here and see if I can't find my instance of the autonomous database. And I just tweeted this thing, so you can kind of see that you can see this. Click on the tweet later on if you want to. But we log into the database here. Log into the Oracle Autonomous Cloud. Once we log in, we come in and set up. And I've already done this before, so I just wanted to kind of show you a little bit of the mechanics that goes on here. I log into the Oracle Autonomous Database. I have a database instance here, and I have my Service Console, and I launch this. And once I'm in my Service Console, I can go into here under administration and set up different users, manage Oracle machine learning users. But I've already done this, and I already have a user called Charlie over here, and Charlie has already logged in this window, okay? So here's my window, and I'm using Oracle Machine Learning. So when I start out, I have a console that has notebooks, jobs, and I have a bunch of different examples over here. And in the examples, I could use something like this classification prediction notebook, which is what I used actually as my starting point to do the one I am going to do. So I have a notebook, and I am going to sort these based on time or used and most recently used. And here's the one I'm working with right now. As I go through the notebooks, and I'll do this 3 or 4 minutes. We're going to do as quickly as we can here and turn it over to Application Express. But I have the ability to have a certain amount of markdown language over here. I have these interpreters that talk from the Zeppelin notebook back to the database connection or whatever I'm using. And this is markdown language. I'm going to run that. I've put a little picture over here. I describe the scenario, and I also show where we get the data from. This is data that was on, I think, UC Irving and also on Kaggle. I can review the wine, and I can just see the table of data and see all the different values with points and so on here. I can say, well, I'd like to do some simple graphing in these notebooks. The notebooks are not known for, amazing graphs. They're known for decent graphics. And if I just to get the kind of job done, and if I want to go do different kind of visuals here with this, I can interactively work with this. Now, right now, these notebooks are only going to speak SQL and PL SQL, but they are very soon also speak Python in the early spring. And if I want to do something like in here and say and sample 10% or something like that, if I'm doing this right, I can take a sample of the data and sort of view it, because what I'm looking at in the graphics is a top 1,000 records. I can graph the wines grouped by points. So here are the prices of the wines, and you can see them grouped by points. So I can see sort of, and they're much higher proportionally good bottles of wine as I pay more, but I want to get down on this end because I'm cheap, right? So I can view the data. I can view the data in a different setting here. I can say stacked if I want to, see if I can get that to work the right way. So where the different countries are for the greater than 90-point wines. And if I could solve my problem with graphics here, life would be easy. But I probably want to do something else a little bit more here. So I don't run a few different graphics here. And I finally decide that what I really want to do is start doing some machine learning. And to build a good predictive model, I want to take out this points attribute, because points would be if I knew the points as an input variable, I wouldn't be able to really predict so much, right? I mean, that would be cheating. So I want to say I don't know the number of points. I reach into the bin at the store, and it says this is a great wine from a certain area of Spain, and it has robust flavor, and it's this variety, and it's a 2016 wine, and it's $35. Should I spend my money or not? And so I want to build a model. Now in the GUI, what I did before with these, I'm doing an attribute importance right now. In the GUI, under all GUIs is code, and what I'm showing you right now is the code that the GUI is calling. In the spring, we will have something called AutoML, which is both an assembly of sort of a molecular level assembly of a bunch of different algorithms and techniques, all sort of assembled together in a methodology for automated machine learning. But we're also having an AutoML user interface, which will alleviate the need for writing code or using the templates, but it also will generate the code. So if you want to take those templates a little further, you can. So you can see here I found that price is the most important influencer, region, variety, province, and so on. And so that's sort of one part of machine learning already. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go off and build a model, and I'm going to do if you saw in the slides before, I have naive Bayes, logistic regression, support vector machines, decision trees, random forest, a bunch of different kind of techniques. And a little bit just below here, I've also run a random forest before over here. It takes just a little bit longer to run the random forest, so I'm running the naive Bayes up here, which just finished. So you can see it dropped all the previous settings. It built the model and did all that in like 18 seconds on a little over 100,000 records here. So it's really, really quick. But the beauty of this is once I have this model built and I can evaluate the model, I have all my predictions, I have all my insights. In fact, I have the whole methodology for repeating this as some sort of application. I have it all inside the database. So if I want to go off and build any kind of user interface or interrogate this data using any kind of Oracle technology, I can do that. And now what I'm doing is I'm saying, well, let's just focus on those wines that are most likely to be 90-point wines. And I may want to sort them based on price, sort them based on probabilities and so on. So I can do a certain amount of sorting. I want to look for the cheaper wines over here and see what I can get for a probability over here. So that's a 13% probability. That's a 5% probability. That's a 90% probability. I got to spend $50. So I have all these predictions. I have all these insights, and I can view it in sort of various different ways here. But I've got David on the other side of this line, right? And he's got Oracle Application Express. So what I'm going to say is, look how easy this machine learning has been. I'm going to celebrate with a glass of wine right now, even though it's only 11 o'clock in the morning out here in Boston. And I'm going to turn it over to David, and I am going to run this to delete the previous data set, populate my new results, and then turn it over to David. So David, are you there? I'm going to turn it over to you now.
Okay, so if you could stop sharing, I'll start up. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually in my Always Free Autonomous service, and mine's actually expired, so I can't use any paid sort of services. And I'm just going to jump into my Autonomous Data Warehouse here, and you'll see I've got this ML demo one, and I'm just going to go straight into the tools here so I can go into Apex. So I need to log in. And I need to log in with the right password, would help. That's better. And what I'm going to do is just quickly go into SQL Workshop so you can see what artifacts have been created. So you can see that there's some tables that have been created very recently. I actually just ran through the exact same model that Charlie was just showing. So here was the original table, which you can see the columns in here, and we can actually go and have a quick look at the data in here. And then these are all the model tables and everything, and various tables that we used. But the real table we're interested in is this wine predictions table. So this is a table that is giving us the output of what we're looking to see, telling us where it is, what province, what variety, and the probability and what have you. So now what I'm going to do is, that's great. A data scientist can go in and see all this data and everything else. But what I want to do is I want to make an application that's available to end users. So I'm going to go and create a new application, and I'm just going to call it Wine Prediction. And I'm simply going to go and add a report and a form. In fact, just a report. So these are my predictions. And I just need to pick off that one table that we saw there called Wine Predictions. Now, I don't want a form because we're not going to be doing any updates. We're just going to be reviewing the data. And I do actually want to turn the security on, be able to provide feedback and what have you. And now I'm just going to go and create the application. So after Charlie's done all the hard work of doing all the predictions and everything, I've got the easy bit, which is let's make this available to everyone. So let's just run this application. I have trouble with my password today. Okay, this is not good. There we go. So now I'm into my application, and we can see that we've got the data coming up in here. Now, the first thing we'll notice is that the probability isn't showing up as I'd like. So what I'm going to do is actually just go and quickly change the format of this field here so that it shows better. So I'm just going to go and edit my page, and I'm going to open up my columns here. And the one that I most want to check is the probability here. And I'm just going to go and select a better format mask. And so let's show it with 2 decimal places, should be more than sufficient. And so now I've done that, I'm just going to save it. I can run it immediately. I don't have to generate or anything. And we can see our data coming through. So with this, it's called an interactive report, and I have a lot of capabilities as an end user, as a sort of things that I can do to manipulate this. So as Charlie alluded to, I've got a bias. I'm Australian, so therefore I want to check out Australian wines. And I can see that there's a number of different wines here. And to be honest with you, I'm only interested in those that are over 90 points. And furthermore, I want the price to be approximately $40, so or less. So I'm just going to select a value here. I'm just going to modify this and say less than or equal to $40. So now in a very short period of time, I've been able to sort out the sort of data that will lead to a good bottle of wine from Australia. And for example, I might want this Franklin's Estate one. You'll see there's lots of different sorts. And to be honest with you, I'm interested in red wine, so I'm just going to put in Cab. And so now I've got all the Cabernet Sauvignons, Cab Merlots, and what have you. So this is showing me how easily I can actually do an application up on this. But what I want to do is actually go and add a chart. So I'm just going to go in and create a chart here on the fly. And let's do a pie chart. And I'm just going to call it chart because I'm very creative today. And I want a navigation menu entry. And so now all I need to do is actually go and pick it off the table that I want to base this on. And so I'm going to do it on Mind Predictions. Click on the next, and then I need to specify what I want to do the label as. So I'm going to do country, and then I want to do the probability, and I want to do the average probability. I'll create that. So if I go and have a look at this chart that I've just created, you'll see that there's a lot of data in there, but I want to narrow it down some. So I'm just going to go back into my chart here, and I'm just going to go into my series, and I'm going to add a condition to limit the data that I'm bringing out. So the first thing I want to do is limit it to where the prediction is. The value there is GT underscore 90 underscore points. And also I want the price to be less than or equal to 40. So let me just save that. And let's see how our chart comes out now. And we can see that there's a number of records in here. So what I want to do is I actually just want to modify this slightly. And I want to go into here, and I want to have the threshold of, say, 0.015, I think is a good value. And let's see how that comes out. So not quite the right value, but if I play with this just a little, I think it was 0.15 rather than 0.015. Too big. What I'm trying to do is actually, it's not coming out the way I want. I'm just going to take that off for now. But what I can do is, because of the fact this is an Apex application, and oops, 0. Okay, because of the fact this is an Apex application, one of the things is that it's great to do these predictions, but we want to make this available to everyone. Now, I'm running this on Autonomous Database, so what I'm going to do is just take that URL, and in the not too distant future, we're actually going to provide friendly URLs, but for now, I'm just going to go and change this, and I'm going to put this as apex-wine is the new URL. So in the chat, I'm actually going to go and put in the details so that anybody can go in and access this application for themselves. So they simply need to, oops, sorry, I didn't put in the right link in there. So in the chat, you will see my bit.ly link or the real link, whichever one you want to use. And if you go to that link, then you'll be presented with the login page. And so we can just go to demo. There's the username and password. And so therefore, anybody on this call can actually log in and play with our predictions and go and have a look at bottles of wine that they want to use for themselves. So what we've been able to do in a very short period of time is, using all the machine learning, is create these predictions and then make it so that anybody can use this, and you can run this on any device. So for example, if I've got this on my cell phone, then Apex is fully responsive, and you'll see that it will run on any device you've got running. You can very easily go and put in your own criteria based on the sort of wine that you're looking to use, to buy and what have you. Okay, 1 second. So I did go and change the password. It could be that that user is locked. Let me very quickly go and check that. It's saying it's unlocked. So you should be able to log in. Let me just go and try that for myself. Oh, I know what the problem is. Haha. So one of the issues is I turned on the security so that nobody who doesn't have rights can get in. And so what I need to do is actually go back in as my user. And then I need to go into administration, and I need to add the demo user in here. And then I'm going to make you just a reader so you can't get at the administration. And now if you actually try and get in, anybody should be able to log in. So this is just showing that the security in here does work. If you don't have the user set up properly, then you won't be able to get in. And you can see the predictions here, you can see the chart and what have you. So there's lots of good questions coming in on the chat. And Charlie, if you want to answer the questions about the machine learning part of it.
Are you ready to take questions, Charlie and David, or do you?
No, we have just a few, just 3 or 4 more slides, I think, right?
Okay.
I will hand it over back to you then. I'll stop sharing and you can continue back through your slides.
All right, we're gonna do the last part on the REST services a little bit together here, I think. So anyway, we had screenshots just in case anything went bad. So this is one of our last safety screenshots here. But the next part we wanted to kind of go into here was, hey, if I'm doing all this inside the Oracle database, the Oracle database undergirds all sorts of applications. Why can I not build some sort of wine recommendation app? Now, David and I realized there are already apps that have been built in this space where I even go and face my camera at a label and do different things. We're not trying to take that on right now, in this 30-minute thing. But what we are trying to show is it's fairly straightforward to take this recommendation or this prediction and build an app using the REST services that come with the Autonomous database. So David can talk a little bit more about this. David, do you want to talk about this 2 or 3 more slides, and then, or do you want me to?
So one of the things is, no, actually, I'm not sure what those slides are for. Sorry, Charlie.
Okay, this is just what so all the point here was just that you can launch Oracle Application Express out of there. You can launch them with Application Express. Yep. And then once you log in here, there are the ability to do REST services. That's all I was trying. That's the last part.
Sorry. Yes. So, the example I was showing today was actually just using data within my local autonomous database. But if you've got data that's coming from external sources, then you can build reports, charts, etc. on those REST endpoints just as easily as I did building it on my local table. And so that's very powerful for utilizing your autonomous database to pull data in from other sources and utilizing that either with the results from your machine learning or building apps using data locally as well.
Yeah. And so congratulations, everybody. You're now all data scientists. You can use Oracle Autonomous, Oracle Machine Learning, Oracle Application Express all together to solve problems and most importantly, deploy them. For more information on Oracle Machine Learning, you can go here for Oracle Application Express. You can Google that. I thought we had that slide in there, but my bad on that, David. It's Google Oracle Application Express. You go there. I thought we had that slide added in there. Did want to also highlight the Analytics and Data Summit that comes up. I'm a co-founder of this along with another fellow, Sham Nath, and a bunch of different hard-working volunteers pull this off every year. The call for speakers is already over, but it is a great event. It's happening in February. Please join us for that. Just Google it or send me a note if you want to. And Tammy, back to you, and we'll look at the questions while you take it into our touchdown.
Thank you so much. Thank you guys for attending. Before you go, if you don't want to listen to the questions, go to the next slide, Charlie. Thanks. I think I have one more. Yep. So our next office hour is going to be on January the 16th in 2020. And we're going to have Keith Laker and Nilay Panchal join us to talk about building an autonomous data lake with ADW. So stay tuned for next year. I can't believe it's already the end of the year. The year goes so fast and keeps moving along. So anyway, but we have some time. So if you'd like to stick around and ask Charlie and David some questions, we're more than happy to stay on. Also, I just want to thank Mahesh that joined us today. This was his idea that he thought this would be a great topic to talk about machine learning and how to use it with Application Express. So Mahesh, thank you for sending this suggestion. I just want to let you guys know we do listen to you, and we're happy to provide topics to talk about on office hours that you would find interesting or that you'd like to know more information. So if anybody else has any ideas on topics that you would like to hear on office hours, please drop me an email, tammy.bednar@oracle.com, and I'd be happy to get all the experts on board to put this together. So thank you again for this suggestion. I think this is a great topic. All the other recordings we've done, of course, can be found at asktom.oracle.com. So with that, I'd like to open it up for questions. You can unmute yourself and ask in line, or please, or just drop them a chat. So Charlie, before I open it up, there was a question about, all those models. Those are built into the database, right? And customers don't have to have a special options license or anything to use those. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's exactly correct. The models themselves are first-class objects like tables. So you have privileges and authorization and tracking of any edits to them and all that. So that's the beauty of having made the database into an analytical platform, not just a data repository. And a recent decision, I think it was just last week, was from Oracle, was that the previously priced Oracle Advanced Analytics option would be made, which is also now known as Oracle Machine Learning, would now be made available for free. Also the spatial and graphs. So in every Oracle database, from SE2 all the way up to Enterprise Next Data, you now all have, may the force be with you. You all have access to these algorithms, and please use them. There are so many things. It's just exciting to see about, unleashing the creative capabilities and the analytical and technical power of the Oracle community with these now free machine learning algorithms. So yeah, you can do whatever you want.
Thanks, Charlie. I appreciate that. Does anybody else have any questions that you'd like to ask live? My simple question, here's one that just came in from Mehul. My simple question is that if OML is freely available on premise DB, then can it be available on ATPD without using ADW? Yes, absolutely. Charlie, do you want to expound upon that?
Well, it's free everywhere. I'm not sure the simple question is, if OML is freely available on-premise, it is, then can it be available in autonomous transactional database? Yes. Without using ADW? Yes. I am confused between these. Yeah, the autonomous transactional database, Tammy and others can answer that better than I, but it's just a slightly modified, it's a slightly different configuration of basically the database, right? And inside every database is sort, rank, select, neural net, decision tree, all these algorithms. So yeah, the algorithms are buried into the kernel of all these different databases. And what some people do is they build a model maybe on premise or in a development system, and then they just move the model and the scripts to another production system. But it's just like any other script that you have. Yeah, it's all just database technology everywhere.
Right. And so, yeah, I think that was an excellent question. Thank you for asking that. Anything that you've seen today in ADW can also be run in ATP, because ATP is a database that can be used for mixed workloads, whether it's analytics or transaction processing. And so the functionality is available in both provisions databases. The difference between ATP and ADW is that we're trying to help optimize that out of the box based on the workload. So if your primary workload is analytics, then please use ADW. If you're going to have mixed workloads, then do ATP. And I see, David, you had provision in ATP database. David? Nope, not.
Sorry, I said I've got both an ATP and an ADW in my free service.
Okay.
And you'll notice under ATP that I've still got the notebooks and everything. If I go back here and I switch from my
David,
ATP,
you're not sharing. I'm going to stop sharing, right? Oh, is that you sharing? Okay, that's
me sharing. So if I go to my ADW, then The only difference is this is where I've actually defined my machine learning notebook. And so, that's really the only difference. Both services have the availability of defining these notebooks. There's no real difference between them.
Someone here asked, where can you find the list of all the algorithms? If I get a chance to go to that window, it's just in the documentation or on the website that I gave you, the Oracle Machine Learning website that I showed before, but I'll try and find that. I'm going to move down to the next one, something about can ML models can be used in Oracle Analytics Cloud using database connection? Yeah, you can. Now, they announced at the OAC team announced at Oracle Open World that they are also going to add some sort of specific functionality from OAC you can go to a GUI and can search what models exist in the database, and you can say, this is the model I want to use, this fraud model or this wine prediction model, leave the data in the database, score the model in the database, then continue on doing like what David did, but using OAC. So that is roadmap functionality they did announce, but if you just go into in OAC, you can use drop into a SQL window or query. Philippe Leon has done many different demos and show examples of that.
Yeah, and just to add to that, OAC has, if you go and look at the connections when you want to connect from OAC to a database, it has one specifically, or it has an option to select ADW or ATP connectivity. So they've already done a lot of work behind the scenes to help you connect from OAC to the autonomous databases more easily. So that's already there.
There was a question about how, so go back slowly and show the SQL developer stuff. Can I just take the helm for a second?
I was just showing the examples that are built in. So all I did was I went into machine learning, and there's this examples here, and you'll see that there's various examples that you can go and play with. But now I'm going to stop sharing and back to you, Charlie.
Yeah, and on those examples that that David showed, they're very simple. Why? Because I created them with sometimes help from others, but they're meant to be really just sort of, 101, 102 kind of things. But you do have to export, and they're read-only in the examples gallery. So you export them and import them into your own workspace and use them from there. So the question was, I'm in SQL Developer over here, let's say, and I want to, from SQL Developer, I want to go use the machine learning kind of stuff. So what happens is, see if we get this guy to maximize right here.
This is
what
the
happens
SQL
is you go
Developer client tool, right, Charlie?
This is the SQL Developer client that a lot of people use. So I go up here and I say data miner connections. And when I do a connection, and there's tutorials about how to do that, as I set up this connection, it says, hey, you need to have a place to put all your data. You need a schema, an Oracle Data Miner schema. You need the sysdba to grant sys approval to allow you to create a place where you can store your models. And then once you do that, then all the rest of the stuff opens up where you can do all of this. So it's a different personality that opens up from launching Oracle Data Miner, and there are tutorials in the Oracle Learning Library. Just Google for machine learning, you will find those.
Right, so we don't have that quite built into the SQL Dev Web that you can access from the Autonomous Database yet. You have to use the client tool for that.
Yeah, that's actually correct. Yeah, on the web, what we're doing is we're finding that the fat client of SQL Developer on premise is not necessarily the way we want to go forward on data science, machine learning in the cloud. So we're going more to notebooks, and in the notebooks we're adding in code-free versions of the notebooks, the AutoML user interface that we teased at Oracle Open World, and we said we're coming out with that in the spring, and that still holds true. So there will be a code-free AutoML, click, 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 it just launches everything and does no writing of code. It's not going to be a drag and drop. It'll be a different sort of paradigm, but it'll also generate the notebooks where you can continue on and do whatever you like.
Perfect. They want to know if these examples were coded in SQL, PL SQL, or Python.
These were all coded in SQL and PL SQL, as I showed in the notebooks. I don't know if I can go back here and show this. This is a drag and drop. So this generates the code. If I want to do this and generate the code, I know I'm showing a little bit of on-premise, which was one of the asks, but also in the cloud. If I come back here to these notebooks, if I can get over to here, this notebook may still be working. So this is %script is where I run PL SQL. So that's when I build the models up here. This is what all those examples. So this is dropping a previous model, dropping the apply results, and so on. This can be you can use the examples that we created. Here's one where I did one for a random forest also, and I just changed the target the algorithm from the template from naive Bayes to random forest, kept all the rest of the default settings and ran that. And right now, as I said, under all good GUIs are code, and we're exposing the SQL and PL SQL code to you now. The GUI will be coming, but also the Python language API to talk to these same things, same algorithms using the Python language, and being able to make callouts to open source Python where you want to do some sort of analytical duct tape. That is coming. We already do that with R today on premise, but in the autonomous with the notebooks, we'll be adding the Python first because that seems to be the more popular, followed up by the R integration. So the notebooks will be multilingual: SQL, PL SQL, Python coming soon, and then R following on the heels of that, and then GUI in between, the GUI about the same time as the Python.
Fantastic. Okay, we're getting more requests to do some future office hours, Charlie's, on all these algorithms. So I think this is a great topic. Thank you.
All right, super.
Anybody have any other questions?
I was going to offer that I did put the notebook that I just showed in the chat window. So for Oracle people, I haven't quite figured out with legal kind of things and such. Putting things in GitHub from Oracle is sometimes a little bit of a dicey thing. So I just put it for the internal people right now due to permissions and stuff like that. If there is any kind of Oracle user group community or Oracle ACE guys or whatever that have some sort of everybody put your good stuff here, send it to me and we can put some more stuff out there, and maybe all of us can expand upon these notebooks and Apex applications and kind of iterate on them and have a lot of fun. So right now I just posted it for the internal people, but we probably need to get a better way to distribute it more broadly.
Good point. Thank you. Good suggestion. Okay. If you guys don't have any other questions, again, I'd like to thank you, Charlie and David, for putting this together. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it. I think this is a great topic. And thank you for everyone joining us today. Thank you for your suggestions on some future office hour topics that you'd be interested in. We really appreciate that. And again, happy holidays, and we'll see you guys all in 2020. So have a great day. Bye now.
Thanks, Tammy.
Thank you all.
Bye for now.
Bye.